I used to believe that if you gave your child everything, they would naturally love you back. Not because they had to, but because love recognizes sacrifice. I was wrong. My name is John Harrison. I'm 70 years old, and the hardest lesson of my life didn't come from poverty, illness, or loss. It came from my own son. For most of my life, I worked the same factory job in Ohio. 42 years. Same building, same machine, same early mornings. The kind of job that wears down your body slowly, quietly, until one day you realize your knees hurt when it rains and your hands never fully relax. But I never complained. Every paycheck had a destination, a future. My wife died when our son Ethan was 9. One day she was there, packing his lunch, scolding him for muddy shoes. 3 months later, I was standing alone at a grave, holding a child who didn't yet understand what forever meant. From that day on, I became two people in one body. I learned how to cook badly and clean worse. I learned how to listen when he cried at night. I learned how to hide my own grief so he wouldn't feel unsafe. I didn't date again. I didn't travel. I didn't dream for myself. Everything went into him: his education, his clothes, his confidence. I told myself there would be time for me later. When I turned 65, I could have retired comfortably. I had saved well. No luxuries, but dignity. A small house, medical security, peace. That was the plan. Then Ethan came to me with a different dream. He said he didn't want to work for anyone. He said he wanted to build something of his own, a business. He talked fast, excited, full of words like growth and potential and freedom. I saw the same boy who used to show me his school drawings, waiting for approval. I also saw fear, the kind that asks for permission without saying it. He told me he needed capital, a lot of it. That night, after he went to sleep, I opened my retirement account. I stared at the numbers for a long time. That money represented every overtime shift, every ignored ache, every year I told myself, not now. I thought about my age. I thought about my health. And then I thought, what is the point of reaching the end if your child never truly begins? I said yes. I emptied my retirement. I paid for the storefront, the equipment, the permits, the inventory. The business was registered in my name, not because I didn't trust him, but because the accountant said it was safer. I didn't argue. I didn't read much. I just signed and paid. At first, it felt worth it. Ethan was grateful. He called me every day, asked for advice, told people the business existed because of me. I felt proud watching him grow into himself. It felt like my life had meaning again. Then the business started making money. Slowly, the calls became shorter. The questions stopped. When I visited the shop, he seemed irritated by my presence. He told me I wouldn't understand modern business, that things had changed, that I should relax and enjoy life. Enjoy life where exactly, I wasn't sure. When he got married, things changed faster. His wife moved into the house. She was polite at first, then distant, then openly cold. Conversations stopped when I entered rooms. I felt like a guest in my own home, someone tolerated, not welcomed. One evening, Ethan sat me down. His voice was calm, practiced. He said they needed space, privacy. He said I deserved rest somewhere quieter, somewhere appropriate for my age. I laughed because I didn't understand. Then I realized he wasn't joking. I asked him about the money, the business, my future. He looked at me and said something that still echoes in my head. You gave that money willingly, Dad. It was a gift. A gift. That night, I packed a small bag, not because I agreed, but because I was tired of begging for space in a house I paid for. I slept in my car. At 70 years old, my body aching, my pride shattered, wondering how love could evaporate so completely. For weeks, I drifted. Park benches, cheap motels. I avoided old friends out of shame. I replayed every moment of his childhood, searching for the mistake. I wondered if loving him too much taught him that I was endless, replaceable. Eventually, a former coworker recognized me. He asked questions I couldn't avoid. He insisted I speak to a lawyer. I resisted. I didn't want revenge. I wanted understanding. But when the paperwork was reviewed, the truth was simple. The business was mine, legally, completely. Ethan had never bothered to check. He had assumed ownership the way children assume parents will always be there. The court ruled quickly. There was no drama, no shouting, just facts. The business returned to me. Ethan lost control of everything he thought he owned. He didn't look at me when it ended. I didn't feel victorious. I felt empty. Winning doesn't heal betrayal. It just stops the bleeding. Today, I live alone. The business provides enough. I am careful now, not with money, but with trust. I've learned that love without boundaries teaches people to take without guilt. I still think about my son. I still hope he learns something from this, not about business, about people. Because one truth remains painfully clear to me now. A child who truly loves you will never make you homeless.